And we're back.
Hooray!
How you doing, Jason?
I'm I'm doing fantastic.
What weather we've been having this week? Incredible.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier that earlier today it was 86 degrees when I looked, and it was a perfect blue sky. There wasn't a cloud or a chemtrail to be seen.
That's
Any
all.
which direction, it was crazy to see just a pure blue sky.
That's pretty rare in the simulation, I have to say.
There's usually something going on.
Totally. Well, what a lackluster, exciting week it's been.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's like that, you know. You just what I keep getting text messages from my wife.
um, well, basically, I still keep hearing the same um, vegan, circular sun and moon, um, the same rhetoric week by week, day by day.
Yeah, yeah. Anything you want to share throughout the week that was completely non-exciting that we should think about?
Let me just take a double take on that question. Um, well, the Morgile got prank called by NASA.
That's interesting. Well, sort of.
Yeah. Also, NASA today on their discovery of their 7 new planets, 40 light years away, actually had a basketball on the screen to represent a sun in a distant star system.
Love it. Well, everything's a ball in this world, right? All the sports, balls. It's
Well,
all
the other
except
thing
for
that,
hockey,
yeah, no, that's a disc.
right?
Um, except they didn't put on thick glasses at a misshapen basketball court. They just had the ball.
It's the ball. Are you sure you didn't look up and see a glass ceiling with a bunch of glasses sitting on it, and that's the reason why we see the sun and moon doing the improper circle around the outside of an AE map?
Well, yeah, the top of the glasses, right? You see the bottleneck of it goes the other way, right?
All right. Well, I think we should explain to people who are listening what we're talking about right now.
You want a screen share, or do you want me to pull something up?
You can pull something up. Basically, for anybody out there that's listening to this, Ronnie and I sort of come up with some different topics each week that we want to cover. And one of the big ones is, are there any real people on the flat Earth? And that's a question that we want to talk about tonight and look at it from a bunch of different ways. What we're doing right now is this is just a on the fly sort of a recall to when I was on the Globebuster show, and I was showing how impossible it is for the sun and moon to be doing circles over an AE map, and the Morgile said that the firmament's a glass ceiling like a basketball court, and then there's a bunch of glasses sitting on top of it, and that's the reason why you see the sun and moon doing the incorrect circles that they're doing right now. So that it's sort of a mind better, and everybody jumped on board with that and said that that was the best explanation for what's going on right now, what we're witnessing. And well, if there's any real people out there, flat earthers that are listening to this, if you could just look outside your windows and take a look and see what angle the moon is rising and setting right now, that'll tell you that the popular flat earth model, that AE model, does not work. Unless if you come up with explanations like there's a glass basketball court with like shot glasses on top of it, and that's the reason why we're getting all these incorrect angles from an apparent sun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up some images here. I think I have. Okay, I'll share this.
Oh, an apparent sun.
Yeah,
It
it's
turns
apparent.
out it turns out that this isn't new. It's not like the Globebusters, coined the phrase apparent sun. It was actually Samuel Rowbotham that started talking about that back in his piece of deceptive work.
Yeah, we'll be touching upon that a little bit later tonight. Um, but I'm trying to find some great illustrations. So I got a question for you about the atmospheric refraction.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking up into the sky, 90 degrees,
Uh-huh.
how come the stars are like they're not blurry or they're not shifting in any direction? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, blurry and shifting in direction. I've seen a couple of videos recently. I think it was the Wee Man that covered it, and so he was showing footage of the stars, and he had it super slow mode, and he had it really in focus. To anybody that thinks he's out of focus, they've never done it with a P900. I've got one. I I film the stars with it. I use manual focus, so I know what it looks like when it's in focus, and he's doing a fantastic job of hitting focus, but it jumps around.
Mhm.
So you can have it set in manual focus, and it can pop to a position where it's out of focus, and you'll have to refocus again. And it actually jumps around. It doesn't move slowly. It pops around like bing bing when you get it slow enough and it's in focus. And it doesn't look like distortions through water. Um, it seems to jump around like like pixels on a screen, just sort of like lighting up, turning off in a general area, but moving around. And sometimes they'll be in focus, and sometimes they'll jump out. So I know where you were going with that comment about them being in focus.
Yeah, totally. Just my computer, it's just a little bit of a lag.
Okay.
I could go into maybe there was an interesting video published today by Christopher Green from AMTV.
Yeah. If you wanna share something, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll cue it up here. I have to give him. No, I don't think it wants to share. Nope. But I have to give him a big shout out because he is talking about Mandela effect. He mentions flat Earth. Um, not too many people with 300 odd thousand subscribers are calling out these things, and I guess it leads me to my are there any real people on the flat Earth question for you? So, have you noticed maybe? Uh, what do you notice with your subscribers and comments and messages lately, if anything?
A lot. Well, I notice a lot of nothing. um, so yeah, I can bring up the my comments. This is what I see as a YouTube content creator. So let me do a present here quick.
Sure. I'm just going to refresh too. It's a little glitchy today. While you do that, I'll present you. And I'll be right back.
Okay. So let me know if the if this is presenting. Oh, it looks like it is. All right, so what this is this is Creator Studio. When you have, when you're a content creator on YouTube, the comments come in here under community, then you have comments here, and this is the published comments. And there's a comment here 2 days ago by Hits. Enslaved Media, I saw you in the chat, so I would just love to give you a shout out. I appreciate getting comments from you. There's going to be a point to this, and it's going to be awesome. So 2 days ago, then Disciple of Christ 3 days ago, Extol Yeshua Always 5 days ago, Serve Serious 5 days ago, then 6 and beyond that. So, in the last 6 days, I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comments. And when I first started putting out videos, and for a long time, like every hour, I would get 2 to 7 or 8 comments an hour, and and it was a mix of positive and negative ones. I have banned people that I think are shills and trolls, but I'm not deleting comments right now. This is the sum total of the ones that have come in, and it's pretty sparse. So I don't know what's going on. Is YouTube censoring things? Are there people out here listening to us that are think that they're commenting, and I'm not seeing it? So that hence I'm not responding to them. Do they think that I just don't respond to comments? So it brings up the topic of shadow banning, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands what shadow banning is. Uh, in my studies as a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, uh, there's a number of forums that I've paid attention to. Reddit and Godlike Productions. I was never a 4chan guy, but so with these forums, they have the powers to shadow ban a person, where when you think that you're leaving comments and you're interacting, um, you're talking to nobody because nobody else is seeing it. That message isn't going anywhere, and they can do this in a way that makes you feel like nothing's changed. It just all of a sudden seems real quiet, so you're talking to nobody. So I just want to make sure that there isn't some sort of censorship going on where there's some sort of shadow branding technique being used. I have a very, very small world. There's my wife, my parents, and my brother. And my brother doesn't really speak to me anymore. My parents are good for like a phone call a month. Talk to my wife every day, and that's it. Like my world doesn't extend beyond that. I've ruled out having any other personal friends in my life. Um, so it's very small. Like I have a hard time reconciling that there's 7 billion people out there, because well, I don't hear them, I don't see them, I really don't know that they exist. And so tonight I sort of wanted to do a big shout and ask everybody, if you exist, please let me know.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Let us know. Just say hi. It's not hard. But so if you say hi and we know that you're there, it helps us to understand what's going on with the comments there. Maybe nobody wants to comment on my videos anymore.
No, your videos are great, brother.
Well, they used to, but it's not happening anymore. So I'm curious, how many So we both believe that this is a simulation. So there's the possibility that that there would be things that have been referred to in the gaming community as NPCs,
Mhm.
non-playing characters. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, actually, so that would be like the AI assisted players in the NHL video games, you know.
Hmm.
So they just go about they fill the spaces in the simulation, basically.
Yeah. So what's your take on it? I know you believe that this is a simulation. Do you think there's a
Yeah.
possibility that there's AI assisted players out there that that look and act, like you wouldn't mistake them, like you just think of them as any other person, that maybe they don't have the same cognition, consciousness, behind that flesh body?
Yeah, it's there's a good chance. Like I keep thinking there's only so many um seats available, or it just makes more sense for me. I'm still looking for evidence before I jump to any conclusions, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But it does make sense to me. And I guess to add on to the comments, if um, everyone, I just want to say hi for everyone that's made it live, and everyone that's watching it in the future or the past, depending on how you view time. So, just put a small comment in either Jason's or Awake Souls or Event Skeptic or this channel Beyond Flat Earth. Just put a hi or anything, because we're just kind of doing a little, trying to see how shadow banned or censored, or maybe it's just us. But if we don't do these little examples or tests, we're never going to find out what's going on, because the goal is to get to the truth and share it with as many people as possible, as fast as possible, worldwide. I have been meeting a few new people, Jay. World Publishing, Enslaved by the media. There's a few channels that have been evolving or spontaneously showing up. Have you noticed any of those, or nothing?
Yeah, there are some repeats that I'm seeing that is fantastic. So being here for the live, that's super cool. We have an idea that you're real, you exist, and that you would take time out of your schedule to be with us now when we're actually live and we can interact. So I'm looking over at my phone, which has got the chat rolling here, and if you got questions or whatever, I can answer them now. Ronnie can answer them now.
Yeah,
This
I can.
this this is about interaction. So there's you and I right now, Ronnie, and this it's not a two-man show that we're trying to do here, is it?
No, it's a collective group. That's the only way.
Yeah. So we want there to be more people that are understanding, agreeing with what we're saying. Um, and if you don't agree with it and you see a flaw with it, please point it out to us, because we want to study this. We want to be promoting the most accurate truth that we absolutely can. So your help with that would be fantastic. So we all come to a conclusion that is the truth. That's
Yeah. Well, that's the only way, right? A collective.
together, yeah. Everybody's help. So everybody can add a little detail, a little thing that they know that we don't know.
Totally. Um, so far, not too many questions. Fitzpatrick Fitzsimmons is in the house. Enslaved by media. Uh, no blue blood tonight. Well, I guess there's a few. It's good to see everyone. The new Google animation from Nanonas was 1961. I did see it for a second. Have you seen it, Jason?
No.
Here, I'll screen share it. Yeah, it seems like the glitches are gone.
Fantastic.
Are you seeing that? Yeah.
Yeah. Telescope, huh? Whoa.
Oh, there's those seven new planets.
1, 2, 3, 4. They're waving. Hooray! Man, they were ready for this reveal.
Wow. It's interesting.
Google.
But yeah, that's a good shout out. Well, yeah, and everybody else that's out there. So I could just play this while we chat a little bit. It's 360. So that's another thing that I wanted to get into. Or maybe, you could do maybe the moon angles that's happening right now.
Yeah. How about I do some footage first,
Sure.
and then we'll go into the angles.
Okay, you're on. I'll jump back in here and say hi to everybody.
So I'm going to do this without the audio. I'll just do some commentary on this, but what this is me filming downtown Austin from a distance of 9.36 miles away. And so I go through the whole study using, Google Earth and all that, and I come to the distance. And this building right here, the tallest one is called the Astonian. It's the tallest building in Austin. And so I'm filming it with the P900. And all right, footage play. There we go. So now I'm zooming in, and it'll get to a stop point right there, and that's the end of the optical zoom. So that's 83x, and then there's a digital zoom where you can go further. Well, I'm working with the manual focus, going far and near, showing where the best focus point is, which was right around there. Now this is the full digital zoom, and I'm going to adjust it both directions, far and near, and go for the clearest footage I can get here. So you see it's all blurred out. It's coming back into focus. And it turns out that the focus is set at infinity. And this is the kind of detail that you're seeing at 9.36 miles. It's not good. You can look around these edges here and you see that pixelation. So when the camera is focused at less than 10 miles, it's blurry like this. So I want you to keep that in mind. And then I'm going to go to, this was the autumn equinox. This is when I struck out against the popular flat Earth model, because I saw that, on the equinox, the sun was rising 90 degrees east, setting 270 degrees west. So I was out there with a compass, measuring this. You can see here I am, the compass sitting on top of the camera. So I'm getting readings. It did rise 90 degrees east. And so let me run this footage here. I captured, because I was out there filming the angle of the sunrise, I got to capture a sunrise. And so I'm going to let this run at this speed here. Look at the shape of the sun there. Look at how big it is. Look at, it's got its full diameter right there. It didn't come in like it was circling from a far distant point, like they talk about, railroad tracks going off into the horizon. It didn't come in at a point like that. It rose up, And so I'm going to be doing some zooming here, but look at the layers of the clouds. And you can see that there's banks of clouds off back behind the sun, and it's rising up in front of them. You'll see those clouds are behind it right now. As the sun goes up above them, you'll see them appear. There they were. No, it wasn't the brightness obscuring it. You're going to see some birds fly across the face of the sun in just a little bit. That is totally going to debunk that. So you see there's clouds above it now. And it's going to go into them where some of them are going to be in front and some are going to be behind. Well, there went a bird across the face of the sun. It wasn't obscured.
It should have been blinded by the all-powerful light of the sun, right?
Yeah, should have burned up.
I guess focal length does matter.
Yeah, there's gonna be some great more shots here. So you can see how it creates a little bit of a hot spot and the clouds above it. Oh, did you see that bird go across the sun?
Oh yeah.
It was crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
See, now when the focus is back, when a bird goes across it, if it went across it right now, it would be too bright. You wouldn't see it. So the focal length matters.
Totally.
All right, so now it's starting to pop out through that layer of clouds there. You'll see it, it'll whiten up on the top side of it. You can still see that there's, that band of clouds in front of it right there. But now it's to the point where almost that top half is out of the clouds. If you look around the outside edge, you can see, ooh, there was a big flock of birds going right across. And I could see them. I could have counted them perfectly. Yeah, so there's clouds that are off in the distance now. You were able to see them before. The sun's in front of them. Now we're going into another layer. So you can see some clouds in front. We'll probably see some more birds fly across the sun.
You see, now, if you were looking through pop bottle glasses, this would be totally warped.
It'd be warped all over the place. There would be no continuity to the angles whatsoever.
And the radiation mapping that they did from the ground, which was made fun of on a Futurama cartoon where they had a smell-o-vision, but really what it was a heat temperature map, and it came back, everything was crystal clear and straight, flat. So.
Yeah, now there's I'm getting into the season where I'll be getting some good sunset footage again. And there's a filter that I really like to use that I didn't have it back when I did these videos, but I've got it now, and it's called Emboss. And so with the Emboss filter, when there's nothing in front of it, it's completely like a smooth disc. And then if there's anything in front of it, it shows up as a texture. And so like with the Emboss filter on this right now, that top portion of the sun would be all smooth, and then you would see texture from its waistline down right now. It's picking up a little bit of clouds in front of it up near the top right now, but you can see that that was a band of clouds. You saw it before when the zoom wasn't all the way zoomed in. It had a couple layers to it, and it went through the bottom layer. You saw it come through the middle. Now it's going through the top layer. And this is all at a distance less than 10 miles from you. So when those birds flew across the face of the sun, we could have stopped it and seen the detail. You see the legs, the wings, and I showed that example of what a building looks like at 9.36 miles. and it doesn't have that kind of resolution or clarity whatsoever. So that
That's a great point.
that means it's really, really close. And then if you think to yourself, it can't be that close. Well, it can be that close if this is a simulation. It doesn't need to be any farther than that, because look at how hard it was for us to figure out how close it was.
Totally.
So that I like to show the closeness of things through photographic evidence. It's one of the 5 points that I feel is a strong way to come to the realization that this is a simulation through logic and reason and observable evidence. So that's one of the 5 points. The second point is the angles that the sun and moon, the heavenly bodies, that they rise and set at. By studying those angles, you can know that you're not on a globe, that the popular flat earth model, the AE map model, that's not happening. So you gotta be looking at different options for how the sun and moon rise and set. And the option that we've been looking at is that this is a simulation and everything's been checking out. And we're really not getting any pushback on this whatsoever, are we?
No, not too much. It's been, I've heard a little bit of skeptics, but so far it's been, the average. Not much. I sometimes feel shadow banned, right?
Yeah, I feel that way.
But I'm still enjoying the seeking and the truth and the knowledge that's being shared right now worldwide. And I'm ready for some fast play, some big moves, some big reveals. I kind of think that um, it's not up to me. Anything that I get to publish, I'm just simply sharing a greater message than my own. So it's kind of limited to the truth's timing. I don't know if anyone else is dealing with that. How about you, man?
Yeah, it'll catch fire when it's ready, right? All we can do is just keep adding the fuel to the fire and stoking it and trying to get it burning, and we'll do the most we can, and hopefully all of a sudden it takes fire and just rages.
Yeah, well, I definitely like the two examples that you just showed with the building at, what was it, 9.6 miles?
Less than that, 9.36.
So, you know, I, and then you can zoom in on the sun and the moon. It's incredible. And the other thing is too, how far do people think that the clouds extend?
Yeah.
Was it 9 miles?
The tallest ones, is it around 50,000, or do they go higher than that?
There's a couple new sites that um, uh, World Publishing shared. It was windtv.com. That was an interesting one. It shows, they got everything from, I guess I'd like to see if the snow depth changed for my region, because it's been like 17 degrees and there's no snow now. So
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, they've got a lot of data for us to sift through. It's hard to tell how much of it's true or not, but it seems to check out on quite a few different things.
definitely. And some issues that I see already quickly with some pinched regions of the earth that doesn't check out. But so what do you want to jump to? Do you want to keep going with what you're presenting?
Sure. Let's get through the angles quick. This is going to take a little bit of time. Um, this this is what we've been really working up towards the last few weeks. Um, I've been trying to point out to everybody that the moon goes through this cycle back and forth where it rises north of east, sets north of west, comes into a neutral position where it's rising 90 degrees east, setting 270 degrees west, and then it goes the other direction where it rises south of east and sets south of west. And so I've been pointing out the moon each and every week, the last couple of weeks, and now we are at the moment.
Yeah, that
we are at the moment where the angles that it's rising at, this is absolute concrete solid evidence that the popular flat earth model does not work. So I want to give this a little extra time. Just a second.
apparently live from the comments. I got a lizard tongue. Hilarious.
A lizard tongue.
Yeah, from some commenter here. Expect an exposing video very soon.
Oh, cool.
Hilarious. Sorry.
Um,
Did you want to? Are you going to screen share?
yeah, let me do that quick.
Yeah. So the moon is now east, rising east of south of east and setting south of west.
Yeah.
It's February 22nd, 2017.
So just making sure that this comes through on the live feed.
Yep, checking right now. I have to do a reference point here.
Yeah. Seems to have a bigger delay than normal.
Not too much, but you should be good.
All right.
Yeah, you're good, brother.
Okay. So the timeanddate.com is what we've been covering. And we've been covering Austin, Texas. That's where I'm at. Toronto, where you're at. And we picked Perth in the quote-unquote Southern Hemisphere. So for Austin, Texas, back here, this was like the 13th. This is when it was rising closest to due east, setting close to due west. You can see that the day before and the day after are not as good as the 13th. And now we find ourselves at the 22nd, where it's rising 112 degrees. This is considerably south of east, and it's setting 249 degrees. This is considerably south of west. That I'll show you with SketchUp how that doesn't work. Hopefully people can see this in their head. So Toronto, here we are at the 22nd. The farther away you are from the equator, either to the north or to the south, the more extreme the angles become. So because you're at like 47 degrees north, the moon is rising 116 degrees. This is south of east. It's setting at 244 degrees. This is south of west. Now we're going to take a look at that city, Perth. This is below the equator, and it's roughly the same latitude as Austin, and it's got the same angles. 112 degrees, 249 degrees. This is the same as Austin, the same day. It's rising and setting at the same angles. I mean, that should be one of those ding dong moments. All right, so mooncalc.org is a site that the way they model this, maybe this will help people see this a little better. Here's Austin. And so as I drag this slider right now, there's the moon rise. Now this dotted line right here, this would be east. This dotted line here, this would be west. And so the moon is rising from the south. And now it's going to come across, and it is now going to set south of west. Okay, so it didn't circle around me. It rose south of east, set south of west. And look at this for you. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just that your angles are a little bit steeper. So it's coming up at 116.
It's closer to the horizon.
Mm-hmm. And then here's where it's going down. And then here's Perth. And this is, roughly the same latitude as me, south as I am north. But it's rising at 112 degrees to the south of east in the southern hemisphere. Okay? If that hasn't clicked yet, here's SketchUp. And so this is the Gleason map. This is what, pretty much all the popular flat earth channels promote this idea of the sun and moon doing circles over some sort of an AE map. It does not have to be the Gleasons. You can, any map where you have the sun and moon doing circles like this, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So here's those angles here. What I did is I drew a line from the North Pole out to what would be like the Austin area. And so this right here, this line would be true north. Well, I set this angle right here at 112 degrees and 249 degrees. That's what it said. And so that means that the moon is coming up from an angle here, and it's setting over here. Now, if the sun and moon are doing circles like this, how can it be rising south of east, setting south of west? For everybody along this whole latitude, here's the numbers for you, Ronnie. 116, 244. That's up here. A little bit sharper angles. The farther you get from the equator, the steeper the angles are. Now let me spin this map around here. I don't know how else to show people this. But here's Australia in the southern hemisphere. And the popular flat earth model, they have the sun and moon doing circles around like this. I have this raised line here over the equator. So there's the equator, sun and moon doing circles around like this. Now the moon is rising at 112 degrees and setting at 249 degrees in Australia today.
Hello? Yes, this is truth calling, Jason.
That means that it came up from this angle here. You see this? I mean, it's
way off the map.
It came up from here. It's set here. Now, the awesome thing is that the moon does this every month. Okay, so the sun, we're going to get to the point, what is it, March 20th or 21st, we have the spring equinox. So that's when the sun is going to be at the equator. From that point on, the popular flat earth model, the sun's going to look relatively like it could be possible. It'll be harder to prove it. Before then, it is rising south of east. It is setting south of west right now in the quote-unquote southern hemisphere. But the moon does this every month. Every single month, we can look, it'll get to these points where it's rising from the south of the east, setting to the south of the west. Everywhere. That's northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. It's doing the same thing at the same latitudes.
Mhm.
So if we took your latitude, 47 degrees, and we looked at it a place 47 degrees south latitude, same angles.
Yeah, the exact same.
Yeah,
So it's impossible for that to be true. So people, it's clear to me. I hope people in the viewers, people were we really hope people are getting this. You know, we can just keep stomping our feet, um, and that's all we can do. You know.
I will. I'll keep stomping my feet.
So you know, it would be doing a counter rotation there. It's way out beyond south of Australia, which puts the sun's path and the moon's path completely away from observable, recordable observations. Right.
Could you repeat the question?
So so the angles that someone would see from Perth, Australia,
Yeah,
if they took the protractor out and the sun rose and set during this time is completely in defiance of what the AE map demands. So the sun is, you know,
completely,
way off
completely.
path.
The only thing you can do is you can start coming up with cockamamie ideas of like apparent suns that, you know, it's like there's a basketball court with shot glasses above your head, and that's the reason why we're getting all these crazy weird reflections.
Yeah, it's off the dome. It's bouncing off the dome.
Yeah, but the angles are coming up from the south, in the south. I mean, that no, no. You know, for anybody that's going to promote that, show it to me, model it up, show me how you do it. All right, until you can actually model it up and show me how that works, you've got to stop saying that. You're just full of disinfo.
Well, we we want to be a part of the truth movement, or a group of people searching for the truth. And if we're going to be promoting, you know, lies and deception, um, you know, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's people out there that are promoting all the CGI footage of the sun and moon doing circles over an eight. You know, like we'll get into that, but so much of this footage that these popular flat Earth channels that are they're using, it's CGI and it's being passed off as being real.
Mhm. Well, it's they're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to pass it off as being real. They're not telling people that they're showing them CGI footage.
Well, you know, I guess. Bless you. It's a tough, you know, a tough subject. Is there another way you want to express this in SketchUp? Is there another anything that I can buy to help your point?
No, I mean this is the point too. So the first one is the closeness through photographic evidence of things. The second one is the angles. This was a big one. We've been leading up to this. Now next week it's going to be going back to 90 east, 270 west, and then the angles be from the north again. So we'll get our way back to this. I just really wanted to stop my feet hard for this one because it's right here, right now. You can go out and watch the moon rise and set, and it will be proof that you're in fact in a simulation.
Yeah. To me, it's great evidence that you put forth. It's too bad we don't see some more people out there shouting it out, or at least getting it, or commenting back. So I guess that brings up to the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on this quantum D wave technology
Um, so we've been told that they have these supercomputers that are using quantum technology where there's like different states of matter that they're able to use for their on-off signals, and by that they can get more data into smaller places, and so they're faster, more powerful. But it's a different way of processing things altogether, I guess. And so, I mean, they sound like super fast computers now. They're being given credit for like being able to change matter, and that's a big jump. Um,
Well, I can witness that I watched the gray dot turn on at CERN and all the scientists be reprimanded not to interfere with the gray dot. Um, as for everything else, I believe it's created in the mind. I think I think the power of suggestion is what powers the Mandela effect, and mostly sorcery and deception. Um, I don't think that you could tell me that a computer program is Control F, searching all, and changing. There's no way um, that a physical enclosed cosmology, as some flat Earth proponents will have you believe, could ever be affected in any way with such devices. The only way this is happening is sorcery, or just it's actually proof that the construct of the mind is subject to groupthink and propaganda programming. And the Mandela effect, I think, has been a slow process. So, do you think there's any way? So, would you like to share that change, that rock and roll band I witnessed live?
yeah, yeah. And you have better memories on this than I do. Um, but I mean, I still remember it. It's obvious to me.
Oops, gotta unmute, Jay. Sorry, are you there? You gotta hit mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right. Is this sharing?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So this is a video. I think it's Moneybags. Um, he did a voting video, and it's Megadeth. And so when you look for the hard rock group Megadeth, everything comes up DETH with no A in it. And I don't know, what do you remember on that?
I totally remember Death, Megadeth. You know, um, I was in a progressive rock and roll band, um, and we covered. I watched Megadeth live acoustic, and I swear the stage said Megadeth with the DEATH. It's just, and there's lots of residual evidence of it being. There's band fans that have posted that they're going to Megadeth, and they spelled it with the DEATH in the post on Facebook via Twitter, and then the logo of the band will say Megadeth, just the DETH. It's incredible.
So this Moneybags, turns them into voting videos where he tells people to vote thumbs up if they remember it one way versus the other. And you can see here that the thumbs up, thumbs down are relatively close. We've got 270 up to 240 down. Does it surprise you at all that the vote is that close?
Not at all. Well, it does. Actually, I don't know how people can remember Megadeth.
Yeah.
It's beyond me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
It's
I have a hard time imagining anybody remembering it, Mega Deeth. Um, it doesn't look right. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, no, that's changed. That's wrong. Um, but then for other people, they remember it that way. So it's an interesting study to study the difference between the people that sort of quote unquote remember it the old way it really was, and then the people that remember it this new way, the changed way. There's an interesting difference between those two groups of people.
totally, without a doubt. And I know Blue Blood guitar player in the chat. I know he probably has a good answer because I heard him covering some 80s rock, a pretty good video. What about anyone else in the chat here? What do you guys remember? And ladies, do you remember it being Megadeth or Megadeth? So we'll see what we get in the chat.
Yeah.
Trying to see what else we could. That's a great Mandela effect proof, for sure.
So, but it's not just the digital media that's changed on stuff, right? It's not just the search results that we get in Google. Have people's patches on their jackets changed?
Yeah, actually, there was a video on that. A wrestler wore the jean jacket with the Megadeth patch, and the next day he wore it again. It was Megadeth instead of the AI was like, "Bam."
Mm-hmm. So, how does that happen? How do things just change in our reality?
Yeah, well, it's definitely not CERN or some. It's the perception. It's the people's collective picture that's changed. I think
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You do take it to the higher level of things quick. Sort of skip the earthly. You're right. You're right.
How can I change?
I try to come up with both the earthly and the higher understanding. Could it be that they have some computer that when they turn it on and they do things, a group of people are there, that it's because they believe things are happening and it spreads out from there, that that they're creating the effect. It's a witchcraft, right?
Well, so the earthly would be a witchcraft, making people not trust their memory, and once they bam, they've got you. They've and there's a technological aspect to it as well, which could be explained a bit by D-Wave and quantum computing, but I don't know how much of it would be really about CERN.
I don't know. These are the things that have been proposed by some for what the change, how the changes are happening. What do you think the ultimate purpose of CERN is? It's not really to smash atoms and stuff like photons, right? Because the people that run this world, they know it's a simulation. They've just been hiding things under the lie of atomism and all that kind of stuff. They know how things are being rendered.
Well, they put it.
That's the occultic knowledge. They know that this is a simulation, right?
Well, they put it out there in movies, in the Vanilla Sky. There's so many different references that I could give. Um, even the math, the how they found that everything was starting to become expressions of ones and zeros. Well, that's what they say. I still think that's try to couch the earth uh, without having the spiritual side. Um, it's incredible, man. It really is.
Yeah. So if the people that are running this world, the Satanists right now, if they know that this is a simulation, and their number one thing that they're trying to do is to keep people from finding out that it is, and waking up to what their reality really is, because when you wake up to it, all of a sudden you interact with life in a different way. You become smarter. You realize that you're in a game. You start playing it instead of aimlessly drifting around, just watching television and stuff like that. When you realize that there's a game, and that the things in your life that you don't like, that you would like to change, when you realize that you have the power to change them, um, when you realize that you have the power to evict Satan from this world, to change it for the good that you want to see, when you realize that you have that power, um, and you start to use it, then it actually happens. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why it's been held back from us, that this is a simulation.
Mhm.
That's the reason why Satan's system is designed to keep people asleep to this fact.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And, I could go over scripture after scripture, which in the upcoming times I will. It's clearly understood not to love anything of this simulation, because that's what it is a simulation. It's not if it were real and we were real and this is where we were. So basically, I'd like to say that the people of the earth, they raise their voice, and the people that are earthly hear them. And then there's people who are of a spiritual level, and the people from that spiritual level are going to hear that spiritual language. So basically, what I hope that we can keep doing is crying out from the wilderness to because I know that this earth was supposed to be heaven, and it was created that way and intended that way, and we're about as far from that as the AE map sun rising in Perth compared to the summer.
Yeah, this world's a disaster. Satan screwed it up so bad.
It's
What a complete and utter failure. Satan's going to go down in the record books as the biggest idiot ever here on Earth.
well, and his followers, right? So if you want to be trapped with him, be my guest. Keep holding a grudge against things you know nothing about, right? And so basically, the another address I'd like to make towards the simulation proponents is to understand that Yahushai, Jesus, proper name Yahushai, um, or even just Joshua or whatever,
Yeah,
it feels like. I just want to call him the right name. So he came into the simulation, and everything was completely put forth. There was the only way to really have a true test for mankind was to put us through the simulation. And when he took the cross, when he was hung up there, he like ingested all of the haters, the sinners, all the Satanists. He took it all in at once, and like boom, he just like exploded it out, and it was like that right there was the end of the darkness. The only problem is he works at a much faster or different perspective than we do. So we have to retrospectively understand that repenting of what I guess for me, it's you have a choice in the simulation, or your life. you can choose to not have faith, or choose you can choose to be your own god. You can do whatever it is that you feel thou wilt, that you wish you should do. But I strongly feel that the time now is to tell people that they need to um, study the scriptures, and really test them.
Yeah, well, and maybe take a look at them from the perspective of this being a simulation as well. So that adds a different perspective, a different way of looking at things. And to me, when I've done it, when I've gone through the scriptures and took all the things that I knew and understood from the earthly physical, molecular atomic structure type viewpoint of the world that we've been taught through, the education indoctrination system of this world. Um, if if you take what you know about the scriptures and just look at everything like, all right, let's look at this from the standpoint of this being a simulation. The light bulbs pop on everywhere. Things make a lot more sense. And so, I mean, that's one of the attacks that we face. Is people say, well, how can you believe in the God of the Bible, or or Yahweh or Yahushai, and believe in creation? Well, we believe that Yahweh and Yahushai are the creator of this simulation, and that everything that's been written in inspired scriptures is absolutely true, and things that are prophesied will come true. If you think about a simulation, then you think about things being models being rendered. You realize that books, a holy book like that, it becomes a script, and so everybody that believes in it and reads from it, when they're rendering that script. So the more strong believers that we have in the script, the more powerful it renders. And Yahweh, Yahushai, they knew the end before the beginning, or the beginning before the end, or both. But so the script has been written. Now there are blanks, or not blanks, but spots where we get to fill in the details, and you'll see the overall narrative playing out, and then you'll see how we do our choices, the way we do things, our personality. We add detail to the script.
Totally. It's the wonderful thing about the story, is that we get to play a role in it.
Yeah,
We're not left out or forgotten about. Everyone has their own chance to do whatever it is that they feel that they can do. Um,
yeah. So we're all playing a role, but I mean, what everybody's got to ask themselves, what role are you playing right now? So, I mean, are you playing the role of somebody sitting on the sideline? Playing the role of somebody hanging out at a mall, wasting their afternoon away buying, being a consumer. Is that the role that you want to play? Because there's a really big opportunity laying in front of you, and that is uh, eternal life in paradise under the way the Creator intended this world to be, or being abyssed with Satan and the demons. So
it's
it's a
it's
big
important.
choice.
It is, and I don't really mind if people want to say, uh, they've been we're indoctrinated or anything like that, because in my opinion, it's the most freeing possibility in this simulation. So again, I want to ask: are there any real people on the flat Earth? Um, let us know, please. We're looking for the real. people. Because I don't really know anymore, to be honest with you. I see so many people repeating and looped, and it's all starting to blur together. I don't know about
Yeah,
you.
I mean, different comments will come in, and I have to ask myself, is this even from a real person? Um, some I can tell, and they have detail, but some seem like they could easily have been generated by a computer, not have a true person behind it. And it just we hear about that in the news, that is what AI is moving towards, is having that full type of autonomous ability to communicate back and forth at a level that's beyond your capability to recognize it as not being human.
Yeah. Well, I guess that leads me to another. As you can see the screen here. Hope everybody in the live feed can see as well. Can you see?
I can.
Okay, so keeping with the theme of having firewalls and ways that you can combat deception from truth and lies, I'd like to bring up Samuel Burley Robotham, the creator of Zetetic Astronomy by Parallax. Look at this page. What would this be called at the bottom of the page?
I don't know. It's some sort of like a logo or
Type
um,
I don't know the name, but you can clearly see it's got the
footer
red
footer.
footer, yeah,
Yeah,
footer image or graphic. You can see it's got um you got in here you have the serpent around the stick, or the you have Baphomet. Like we can point out all
yeah.
the
Ram horns, which is definitely a cultic symbol.
so we're actually dispelling and destroying the deception that's lying in this, and we're not pointing it out to deceive or to put anyone else under any spells. We're breaking the deception and spells here. um so I don't know how familiar you are, Jason, but I've taken some clips here out of The Motion of the Stars North and South by the Zetetic Astronomy.
Yeah,
And I'm just going to read a little bit here. um so this is out of his book, and he states, this is here, however, we are met with the positive assertion that there is a very small star of about the sixth of magnitude in the south called Sigma Octantis, round which all the constellations of the south revolve, and which is therefore the southern pole star. It is scarcely polite to contradict that statements made, but it is certain that persons who have been educated to believe that the earth is a globe, so going to the southern parts of the earth, do not examine such matters critically. They see the stars move from towards the east towards the west, and they are satisfied, but they have not instituted special experiments regardless of results. So, what do you have to say about that?
well, for one, here's the guy that sort of wrote the book on the popular flat Earth model, right?
Yes.
And he recognizes Sigma Octantis, and he says, round which all the constellations of the south revolve, um, and which is therefore the southern pole star. Now, I know that there's a lot of popular flat Earth channels that hold to the idea, that the sun and moon can be doing circles, and they're reading. I mean, it's they're pretty much their script is this Samuel Rowbotham's book here, but they don't like to even admit that there's a southern pole star now.
Well, yeah. Well, as you can see here, that's completely what it has often been urged, that the Earth must be a globe because the stars in the southern hemisphere move around a polar star in the same way that those of the north revolve around Polaris, or the northern pole star. This is another instance of the sacrifice of truth, he says, and denial of the evidence of our senses for the purpose of supporting a theory which is in every sense false and unnatural. So this is what the spell breaking is. Okay, Robotham is doing a forced dialectic. He's telling you the truth of your senses, seeing all of the stars in the south rotate clockwise around 180 degrees south, Sigma Octantis, is a sacrifice of truth. You got to deny that you see the stars doing that. Uh, because it's false. So basically what he knows is that point there destroys his map and model. So he just tells you to deny it. And people like Eric Dubay have probably made quite a bit of money off of this man's book because it's all open source now.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, because it was Eric Dubay that sort of educated me in the popular flat Earth model. One of the things that I did notice is that he most of his videos, what he did was just read the book and then show some pictures behind that.
Well, he plagiarized the entire book, including calculations and errors that
Yeah,
Robotham had. So, it's easy to debunk. So if Stephen the cell earther comes along, he has the other side of the playbook that, oh no, that's incorrect. And so continuing down the page here, it says the southern region of the earth is not central but circumferential, and therefore there is no southern pole, no south pole star, and no southern circumpolar constellations. All statements to the contrary are doubtful, inconsistent with known facts, and therefore not admissible as evidence. uh, you know, if anybody wants more proof, Kofo 72 um,
yeah.
has an
Kofo 72. Boom, done. Boom.
this is if and what we want people to understand is if you could find someone lying to you, they're no better than NASA. I'm sorry, but it's done to me. Um, Robotham saying that this is the hugest piece of evidence against him. That entire book, really.
The entire book. Yeah, I mean, the premise of the whole book falls apart when you look at the constellations or all the angles, everything that's happening in the southern hemisphere. It destroys it, and so he just tells people, well, it's doubtful, it's inconsistent, known facts. It's not admissible as evidence. Come on, people. I hope light comes on and you realize that this whole book is a lie. I mean, was he a Freemason or something?
Yeah, he was actually. He was the propped up debater that the Freemasons would send in, and his response would be, well, anyone that believes that there's a southern rotation, therefore has been indoctrinated in the globe Earth.
Yeah.
And that to me is worse than
And then
he.
deny if anybody says that there's a rotation there.
Yes, because obviously there is. Christopher Green knows. He that clip there, he's one of the only truthers that's coming out. So again, he's saying it has often been urged that the earth must be a globe. So that is right off the bat incorrect. So we're not going to assume that the earth is a globe, because we do notice that the stars in the southern hemisphere move around a south polar star they go in a clockwise direction. So the stars in the north go counterclockwise around Polaris, and the stars in the south go clockwise around Sigma Octantis. So this is yet another instance of the sacrifice of truth, that if you're willing to take the denial of evidence put forth by Robotham, you're not much of a truth seeker. I don't know how many times I can bring that up with people. You're no better than taping your mouth like Christopher Green. At least this man here is actually stating, that you live in a simulation, that you're being lied to, that he says Jesus or Yahushua, he did die for our sins. So I got to give this man a huge shout out. He's calling out the alien deception. He's calling out that we live in a simulation, and he's saying that he believes that the Mandela effect is happening. Kudos to him. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we often talk about that direct path to simulation realization, and so it seems like he's looking at the world from similar vantage points that we are, at least on those couple topics right there. But those are biggies. Those are ones that not a lot of people have walked through those doors. You got to do a lot of research. You got to be really confident in the things that you've studied to be able to go out and go on record as having, believing certain things like Mandela effects are happening, that we're on a flat earth, all that kind of stuff. Uh, you have to have studied, you have to have educated yourself on these things.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up that Kofo 72 video.
Yeah.
I just like to show people again because um, Eric DeBay is no better than Robotham.
Well, he has just like hands down the money shot, you call it. Bam.
Yeah,
It's You nailed it. It's
it should be sharing. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So this is why I jumped all over and quickly mirrored this video, not only because it was excellent work and it stands for truth, but I caught that Eric Dubay had said there is no southern celestial point, just more disinformation to bolster their balls. So he's basically 100 years later, or however many years it is, 140 years later, parroting the exact same lie.
Well, he's reading from the script, and that's so that Freemason Robotham, Eric worships this guy. He's all of his videos have just been a reading of his book.
And I had to stand beside Kofo 72 on this one because this is exactly what anyone, I know he's been practicing with his P900, but anyone could go out and measure this. He's pointing 180 degrees south,
Yeah.
right? You see that clearly. So there's his P900 on the tripod. I'm sure you've done many times.
Hmm.
You can see as the clouds move away, he's going to show us, and this is something that Eric Dubay can't deny. And anyone else that's writing books, this is true earthers. This is truth. You clockwise southern star rotation exists. We're looking at it. This isn't Antonio Subarat's flipping the camera around, or he proposed that they were reverse playing the videos. This is a regular person with a camera and a cell phone, and it's repeatable. A child could go out and do this.
Anybody can do it.
It just takes practice to get it clear and not pixely, because that's the simulation demands that nothing comes easy. You got to put work into it. But if anyone else doesn't understand, these are clockwise rotations of the star constellations in the south, and he's pointed 180 degrees south. That's north, that's east, and that's west. It's just I could come up with a better graphic on that ball though, but his video's still really good.
Yeah.
And I've heard another person stating that the moon and everything from the south rises from the west and sets in the east. And I just wanted to say again, everything rises from the east and sets in the west. So when you're south, you're looking north, your right hand is going to be east and your left hand is going to be west. When you're in the north looking south, your left hand is going to be the east and your right hand is going to be the west. So this is how you can tell where you are in the simulation, right?
It is.
Um,
Yeah. Just
and so as we can see here, that this is the moon setting. And I'm sure you have footage of this as well, don't you? With even your iPhone.
Yeah. Well, I've done time lapse stuff like that with the iPhone.
And
P900 get zoomed in a little better.
but so you can see that the stars are setting on your left hand side. So that would imply that you're in the south looking north. And this is verifiable by everyone on Earth. So again, that squared section there, we're pointing towards the center, and this would be the Sigma Octantis region.
Well, I think a whole bunch of people got messed up because they got indoctrinated by this group of popular flat earthers pushing this disinfo. Samuel Rowbotham's book. Um, what did all those channels do? They all denied a southern pole star and the rotation around it, right?
Yeah. Well, and now what they're pushing is that you're in a basketball court and you have thick pop bottle glasses on, and the only time that this happens is when you're in the south, looking south. So it doesn't happen in the north. Everything's crystal clear.
You're hurting my head.
Again, people, Eric DeBay, there is no southern celestial point, just more disinformation to bolster their balls. I'm just going to go back to Robotham and show you. This is written in 1881, ladies and gentlemen. The southern region of the Earth is not central, but circumferential, and therefore there is no southern pole, no pole star, and no southern circumpolar constellations. All statements to the contrary are doubtful, inconsistent with known facts, and therefore not admissible as evidence. So, as a person looking at this from a lawyer standpoint, um, COFO 72 has now proven that anyone that follows Eric Dubay and Robotham have to sacrifice the truth and deny evidence for their, in every sense, false and unnatural model. The AE model is not truth because you have to follow people that say, like this guy, your leader, there's no southern celestial point. When we're all witnessing this. Jason, are you witnessing this?
Yeah, it's there is a southern pole star. It's not perfectly in the center of the way Polaris is,
So
but there is a point of rotation right there. It's the closest star to that point of rotation.
so what he's cleverly put here is it's time to let go of the disinformation that we've been taught again, because we all thought we found the truth, and this is what the occultists love to do. They
Double dipping you when you think you're coming up and getting some air, and may have woken up to the truth. Boom! They put you right back under. Double dip.
and so you need to trust your senses, and to me this clearly shows that the A model doesn't work again. um and you can map this out, you can model this out. This is clearly moving in a clockwise. This is not a circus tent with the stars spinning around. This is a more beautiful, unbelievably incredible creation that the devil has virused, and people need to come, wash their hands clean of these deceptions and these liars, or what are they going to say when they're judged? Oh, well, it was fun, but I wasn't a real true earther, because I don't want that on my garments.
Yeah. So the southern pole star. Everybody's been told to not believe it. Don't trust it. It's not true. It's a hoax. It's all CGI. It's all NASA's doing it. It's all a hoax. Blah blah blah. COFO 72 has shown that real people, anybody, you can go out and you can do this. You can test it yourself. I have done this. I have the camera. Just do a star trail, looking at that Sigma Antanas area. That rotation around that point, around a southern point, means that the popular flat earth model is impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, I was looking in the chat there, seeing what anybody thought. So I'm glad we got through that. What would you like to get into now?
Um,
About
I
30
don't know.
minutes
Do
left.
you feel like keeping this one to about an hour and a half?
Sure. I'll come on camera for a minute. Um, just kind of put out some last thoughts here. kind of show some respect.
Yeah, maybe if you could do a browse of the chat, see if there's any questions there. Maybe we could answer some questions before we go, if there are any. Otherwise, try to get people clued in that we will answer questions live from the chat. We just need some questions to answer.
Yeah, there's not much going on. There is some great chatters out there. And I think maybe quite a few of the people that we have regularly in the chat here, I think they kind of get what's going on. So I guess, what would you like to close with?
Well, we did not cover the models so much this week, or any non-duality. So I guess you can expect next week that we'll probably go into that a whole bunch more detail.
Yeah, I think I think it's time. And again, not wanting to be a part of the lies and deception is a key point to all this truth seeking for me, Jason. And I'm so thankful that there are those few that are breaking free with us. And
I want to hear from them. I want them to like say, "Hi, I'm here," and let's change this world. Let's get it done already.
Yeah, it's time. Instead of hearing the critics point their finger and say, look at that, the man got mauled by a lion, his Bible didn't save him. Well, let's show them that the ones fighting for the good are much greater than those deceivers and liars. So just a quick recap: we went through the sun and moon rise and set angles. We've showed Samuel Robotham as a complete disinfo agent liar.
And he wrote the book for the popular flat Earth model, right?
Yes, it's been plagiarized by every major flat earther, none excluded. So
yeah, well, it was fantastic. It was a great communion, brother.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone in the chat. And next week you can catch this only
on Beyond Flat Earth.
Peace out, guys. We love you.